What's up, NFL fans? I'm Emery Hunt, the czar of the playbook, and don't forget to check out and purchase your copy of our latest football game plan book, Stiff Arming Football Myths. We have these available in both PDF and paperback form.
First and foremost, let's start off with some mock draft rules. And number one, these picks are based off what I would do as a GM, based off what I see as a team needs. And my rankings are not final as of yet. They'll be done in a little bit, but these are not my final rankings. And third, and finally, it's just a mock draft. Chill out. In my opinion, it's a no-brainer that the Buccaneers should go with Jameis Winston out of Florida State. And from a pure quarterbacking standpoint, accuracy, anticipation, football IQ, and situational awareness, he checks off all of the boxes and would instantly help the Bucs compete in the NFC South. Do I think Marcus Mariota has second overall type talent? No. However, I do understand the advantage of having a mobile quarterback, and I think Wisenhunt understands that he can spread the field with Mariota, coupled with the receiving options that they have already on the roster, and be very successful. While theoretically, there may not be as much of a difference between he and UCLA's Brett Hundley, the difference lies in two critical areas: willingness to pull the trigger and raw speed. Those two would allow me to take Mariota here instead of grabbing Huntley later on in the draft. I think both are actually second-round type talents, but if I'm going to gamble on a guy early, it'll be the reigning Heisman Trophy winner out of Oregon. Pass rush is everything in the NFL, and Jacksonville will get arguably the best one in the draft in Nebraska's 6'6", 245-pounder, Randy Gregory. I could go offense with this pick to help out Derek Carr, the young quarterback, but it'll be tough to pass on a player of this caliber in USC's Leonard Williams. Whether or not you think he's a guard or an offensive tackle, Brandon Scherff out of Iowa fills a huge need, in my opinion, for the Washington Redskins. They have to get a lot better up front this season. Stockpiling talent around Geno Smith will help out this football team both in the short and long term, and Amari Cooper, Percy Harvin, Eric Decker, and Jason Morrow is a nice quartet. I'm a big fan of Alabama safety Landon Collins, a strong safety with ball skills who can also be classified as a combo safety, and I think Chicago would welcome his playmaking abilities. I don't think the Falcons are that far off from being competitive, but the one thing they do need is a threat coming off the edge, and that's exactly what they'll get from Clemson's Vic Beasley. Another versatile offensive lineman with a ton of talent is LSU's La'el Collins. You can put him at left tackle or left guard, and he'll excel. Either way, it bolsters the Giants' offensive line. The Rams are another football team that I don't think is far off, and I think they add an impact player at the second level. And Shaq Thompson out of Washington, he can play any linebacker spot, but he'll settle in at the strong side position and excel from day one. I like the direction the Vikings are headed with Teddy Bridgewater at the helm, and I think they'll bring back Adrian Peterson, so I don't go running back here, but I do add Devontae Parker out of Louisville, 6'3", 210, and you team him up with another young player in Cordero Patterson, who I still think will be a very good player for the Vikings, and now you have a potent duo at receiver that can grow with Bridgewater. Even if Josh Gordon didn't get suspended, the Browns had to go wide receiver here, maybe even two wide receivers in round one, but Kevin White is an outstanding player, 6'3", 210 out of West Virginia, that attacks the football in the air and is dangerous after the catch. The Saints need help on the offensive line. They also need help in the secondary, but I think they attack the second level with Dante Fowler out of Florida, a guy that can definitely bring it off the edge, which is something that they sorely need. I believe the Dolphins get younger at the cornerback position with Trey Waynes, one of the best cornerback prospects in this year's draft class out of Michigan State. We know how aggressive he is versus the run, but definitely has the ball skills to make a play once it's in the air. Danny Shelton's initial punch off the snap will probably be illegal in many countries around the world, but this is a guy that I believe can have a Dontari Poe-like impact as a rookie for San Francisco. Almost was tempted to gamble on a quarterback here like Brett Hundley. Maybe I can get him in round 2. But I look at Marcus Peters, a very talented player that got kicked off the football team in Washington, but you can't ignore his coverage and ball skills, and it will make a lot of sense to help out that Houston secondary. I believe the Chargers will continue to build along that offensive line, and TJ Clemens out of Pitt, a guy that can play on the left side, gives them 2 solid bookends in DJ Fluker, and now Clemens makes a lot of sense to keep Phillip Rivers well protected and help bolster the running game. Healthy or not, when you look at Derek Johnson coming back from injury, he's still 32 years old, but I do believe Benardrick McKinney would be an upgrade over Joe Mays at the right inside linebacker spot at 6'4", 245. Was almost tempted to go wide receiver here, but with Danny Shelton off the board, I felt the need to grab another interior defensive lineman for the Cleveland Browns, and Eddie Goldman out of Florida State, despite being 6'3", 320, can definitely hold his own at the point. One of probably many surprises in my first round mock draft, Josh Shaw out of USC, in my opinion, has the best pure cover skills of any cornerback in the draft. He understands how to press, he understands how to wall off receivers, and he also understands how to attack the football. All 3, in my opinion, are sorely needed in that Eagles secondary. A lot of people question the linebacking core of Cincinnati, but I believe they have to get better up front in order for those linebackers to look a lot better. Malcolm Brown out of Texas will be a step in the right direction. The Steelers have to get younger and a little bit more athletic at the cornerback position, and no one fits the bill to a T than Quentin Rollins out of Miami of Ohio. You look at another football team that has to get younger and a little bit more athletic in the secondary, the Detroit Lions. I'll go with P.J. Williams out of Florida State at 6 feet, 195 pounds. In my opinion, this will be an almost ideal situation for Arizona to get a guy that can bring it off the edge like Shane Ray at 6'3", 245. It would be surprising to see him fall this far. If Pittsburgh is standing there, they may take him, but I think this would be a great fit for that Cardinals defense. I don't care if they took Kelvin Benjamin last year in the first round. The Panthers have to stockpile talent at receiver, and Devin Funchess out of Michigan gives Cam Newton another 6'5" target that he can get the football to deep down the field. Another one of my surprise selections in this first round mock draft, Todd Gurley out of Georgia going to the Baltimore Ravens. I think they'll be the one probably to pull the trigger on a player like Gurley and gamble on his talents. I think he'll be healthy by the start of the season, which will pay huge dividends for this Ravens offensive attack. The Cowboys struggled to get pressure on the quarterback, and you saw that clear as day versus Green Bay. And I look at a guy like Alvin Dupree out of Kentucky, one of the most athletic defensive linemen in this year's draft class. I think he'll be a great fit for that Cowboys defense. Another surprise here, but I believe Andy Gallick out of Boston College may be the best center in the country. I got a chance to see him live versus Syracuse, and he excelled on both ends of offense, run blocking, pass pro. He's strong at the point of attack, but also athletic enough to fit perfectly in Gary Kubiak's zone blocking scheme. I don't care what anyone says. If the Colts are able to run the football, they probably don't lose a football game. And that's why they have to add not only someone that can get the job done in Melvin Gordon, but also a game breaker that can ring up that cash register real quickly. It sounds like a broken record each and every season, but the Packers do need help at inside linebacker, and I'm a big fan of Eric Kendricks out of UCLA, 6 feet 230, with that mean streak, that nasty streak that you look for from an inside backer that seeks to hit. The Patriots will continue to stockpile youthful talent along that defensive line, versatile talent with Eric Armstead, a guy that can play inside, he can play outside, and we know Bill Belichick loves versatile defensive linemen. The best way to ensure continued success of your young quarterback Russell Wilson is by stockpiling talent around him, which is why Minnesota's tight end Max Williams makes a lot of sense for the Seahawks in round 1. And since the Buffalo Bills don't have a first-round pick, we're going to go in the second round with their selection only. And I'm going to the defensive side of football with Hau'oli Kikaha out of Washington. Like what I saw down at the Senior Bowl from his game, a guy that can play with his hand in the dirt and also as an outside rusher dropping back in coverage. That type of talent will make Rex Ryan run up to the podium himself and make the selection. I think he will be a great fit for the Buffalo Bills.